Okay, welcome back to Jazz Piano Review. In this quick video, I want to review the concept of a drop 2. So a drop 2 voicing means you drop the second from the highest note down an octave. So this is going to be a two-handed jazz piano voicing for a 2-5-1. So let's look at it in the two possible inversions, because you've always got two inversions for your block chord voicings, right? So this would be called a block chord, right? Because everything is in one big chunk, one big block, just like bricks stacked one on top of the other. Okay, so for our traditional block chord voicings, right, I'm going to drop this down an octave. We've got two inversions. We've got this inversion, right, which I call inversion 1, and this inversion, which I call inversion 2. Okay, so we've also got, therefore, two drop 2 inversions as well. Okay, so let's start with the higher inversion here. So if I'm starting with this inversion, second inversion. Okay, so I'm going to say drop 2. I'm going to drop my second voice from the top. That's this one right here that my middle finger is on in my right hand. I'm going to let go of that voicing, let go of that pitch and drop that pitch down an octave, and now that's going to be played by my left hand. So now I've essentially got an A minor triad in first inversion in my right hand, and on my left hand I've got D and F. And you notice I've got my pinky hovering above the G with my left hand, because that's where my left hand is going to need to go next. Okay, so there's my 2 chord. Right, it's just like this, which we already are familiar with. I'm just letting go of the F in my right hand and adding it in my left hand down an octave instead. Okay, so otherwise everything else stays the same between our 2-5-1s that we already know and the drop 2s. So going from the 2 chord, D minor 7, to the 5 chord, G7, I need to bring my G in the bass, so I'm going to let go of the D in my left hand and add the G in the bass. And then I can keep my 13 and my 9, but I need to voice lead my thumb down here, just like I would do on the traditional, 2, 5, 1. We're just dropping this voice down an octave, so it's going to look like this. 2. Now I need to bring my thumb down and bring my pinky onto the G. Otherwise, my other 3 fingers are the same. And now when I go to the 1 chord, I'm going to put my middle finger on the C, and my thumb's going to come down to the E, right? In the left hand, my thumb will stay on the B here, and these 2 voices will come down a step. Okay, so if I put that all together, here's my drop 2. So one more time, it's the same thing as this. All I'm doing is dropping this voice that my middle finger is usually playing down an octave and taking that over with my thumb on my left hand. Okay, so let's look at how this would work with the other inversion. Okay, but since this is pretty low in this key, right, because if I drop my second voice down, it's going to be down here, right, which is already low. That's too low, because remember, this is going to come down here, so I've broken my rule of keeping my 3rds and 7s within here. So instead of doing this key, I'm going to do the key of F. So we're going to look at F major, right? So normally in first inversion, right, we would do 2, right, 5, 1, and to make it more clear what the upper structures sound like, I'm going to drop the left hand down an octave. The left hand is going to come down here. So normally we would do this. 2, 5, 5, 1, right? 2, 5, 1. So that's our first inversion. So how do we turn this into a drop 2? Nice and easy, right? I'm going to look at my middle finger, which is once again on the second voice from the top. Happens to be the flat 7 in this case. Last time it was, in the other inversion, it's the flat 3. In this inversion, it's the flat 7. So same thing, I'm going to let go of that finger, and I'm going to put that now in my left-hand thumb. And notice I've got my pinky still on the root of the chord. Okay, so now I've basically got a B flat major 7 up here, right, but without the 5th. So that's how you want to think about it in terms of an upper structure. And then in my left hand, I've got the root and the flat 7. So, Otherwise, once again, it's the exact same as this, 2, 5, 1, except the voice that's usually played with my right hand middle finger is now going to be played by my left hand thumb. So there's my 2. To go to the 5, all I need to do is change the left hand. I don't need to change anything in the right hand at all. Right? Because here's my flat 7, my 9, and my 13. So all I need to do is go 2 with a G and an F in the thumb, and then I'm going to go 5 and play the C and the E in the left hand. I like to do it with my pointer finger and my thumb, but you could also do this if you wanted. Doesn't really matter. Whatever's more comfortable. So 2, right hand stays the same. I'm going to go to C and E. 5, and then to go to 1, my thumb stays the same in the left hand. Everybody else moves down a step diatonically in the right hand, and I just put an F in the bass with my pinky. Okay, so first inversion, drop 2. We started with this, 2, 5, 1. Now we're going to drop the second voice from the top down an octave into the left thumb, and we end up with this, 2, 5, 1. Okay, so those are your 2 drop 2 inversions, and if you want to alter your 5 chords, all the same rules apply. You would just be adding those alterations. So going back to first inversion, or actually the first one we looked at, which is technically what I call second inversion. Okay, so if I do this, and then I drop my 2 down, right, I can still alter my 5 chord, right? I could go like this, right? Which is the, and I actually went to a 6-9 here, 6-9, instead of a major 7, which is acceptable, just out of habit, because I often do 6-9s on my drop 2s. So once again, that's the exact same thing as going 2 minor, right? And then 5-7 with a flat 9, flat 13, and then 1 major 7, right? So I'm doing 2, altering the 5 by bringing the 9 and the 13 down a half step here to 1. So I can also do that in my drop 2, right? I'm going to do all the same things. I'm just going to move the voice that was my right hand middle finger and put that now in my left hand thumb. So 2, 5, 7, flat 9, flat 13, and just in case you notice, I'm now on an A flat minor triad in first inversion, right? And then here's my 1. So that one's pretty smooth, pretty slick, because in the right hand you go A minor in first inversion. So from the root, it's the minor triad bit built from the 5th, right? So in the key of D minor, it's a minor triad from A. A minor triad, first inversion, with D and F in the bass. Going to the 5 chord, it's the minor triad, first inversion from a flat 2 or a flat 9. So here's my G7 with an A flat minor triad, first inversion, with G and F in the bass, root flat 7, and then we're going to land on G major triad, first inversion, in the right hand, with C and E in the bass. So this is part of what makes drop 2s sound so wonderful. First of all, they're more open, right? We get rid of this half step crunch in the middle of the voice, right? So they're more open sounding. And it brings out this triad structures on top of the voice in here. So we get a nice A minor triad, A flat minor triad, G major triad, if you're gonna do an altered 5 dominant, which in this case I happen to be doing flat 9, flat 13. But of course there's other options. So once again, that's with flat 9, flat 13. But I could just do the flat 9, for example, and keep a natural 13. Right? In which case I have an E triad here on the G chord. Right? So let's look at this in the other version. So we'll go again to key of F, just for range issues. So normally there's our 2, 5, 1. Right? If we're doing drop 2, it's going to look like this. 2, 5, 1, and then now let's alter the 5 chord. So back in the original case, we would alter the 5 chord by going 2, 5, 1. So in this case, I'm choosing the option of flat 9, flat 13 once again. So it's half diminished from the flat 3, excuse me, from the flat 7, half diminished from the flat 7, okay? So if we do that in drop 2, it's going to just look like this, right? Right? And I should get my middle finger off there. Sorry, that's habit. So once again, if I'm doing drop 2 with an altered 5 chord in this inversion, and once again, I decided to do flat 9 and flat 13 on the C chord. But of course, you could just do just the flat 9, for example. That would look like this. Right. So as always, there's a couple little options. So there's a quick rapid fire review of your drop 2 jazz piano voicings, both diatonic and with a couple options for altering the 5 chord.